TikTok, time to rock. And if you guys were paying attention to that intro video, you would have noticed that it was a little bit different from the previous intro videos that we've had. You'll notice that the Kurt had his halo, the Rev had his halo there. Now, I don't know whether that's deserved or not. That's debatable. And, you know,
we'll see.
Brad had his fiery finger. The good and the bad.
Yes, I did notice. There's a few little changes there. Well done, awesome. Andrew.
Good to see you, bros. Good to see you.
You still need to do one for yourself, Andrew, where you're doing like something, you know, the boss man.
No. Why would I want to do that when I've got you guys?
My boss, sometimes I imagine him with flames coming out of his ears, like he's just pissed at me. That's what you need to do.
Oh my gosh, good to see you. Good to see you guys. How was your break?
Oh, it's been a hot minute since we've met. Thank you guys for letting me take a hall pass a couple weekends ago. I went to, I know Robot Master Switch is in the chat, of course. He's a regular. In fact, we should probably call the authorities and have a restraining order put on him because he's starting to stalk us. But I went to Leavenworth in Leavenworth, Washington, and it's a Bavarian town up in the mountains. And my wife and I and my wife's best friend and another friend, we had a great weekend, went on some hikes, did some wine tasting, had a great weekend. And I was telling these gentlemen, it has been over 12 months since my wife and I did something over the weekend. So it was very needed. So thank you guys for letting me take the weekend off. What's up, Johnny Bean?
Well done.
Well deserved.
What's up, Johnny Bean? Yeah, well done, Kurt. We saw the photos you shared with us in our little private chat. Looked amazing.
Yeah.
I needed it. I needed it for sure.
Do a quick shout out, Kurt. We've got some people here. Do a quick shout out, brother.
Yeah, so real quick, I know we got the regulars in the chat right now tonight. We got Teresa's always here. She's a regular and a solid. Johnny Bean, Robot Master Switch, and we got Dwayne Alexander as well. So thank you guys for always being on. And I want to do a quick shout out to my stepbrother, Rob Johnson. We got to do a show last week. Boy, was that, farting a skillet between the two of us. But Rob, if you're watching this later, I know you're probably sleeping, but thanks, buddy. I had a great time, and I hope to do more with you. I want to also do a quick shout out to Nez Says, Dave Nesdahl, and Ty Price. Appreciate you guys pumping our channel the other night. I know we're all family. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Johnny Bean, in fact, Rob Johnson, I said Johnny Bean is like the Bill Belichick of the coaching tree. He's at the very top. He's got all these skills down below him. So Johnny Bean's the godfather. So we all hail to Johnny Bean for giving us the platform, giving us the idea, showing us the way, guiding us on what to do, what not to do. And so anyway, on Nez Says, they had only good things to say about the 5150 show. So big shout out to Ty and Dave. Thank you guys. We'll continue to plug your channel. We'll continue to plug Johnny's channel. And then also Halenville with Fruitcake Tony, what he's doing over there. in Central Colorado with Bent Tom, Johnny Bean, and Michael the Captain Smith. And what's crazy is we're all doing the same motion, and that motion's Van Halen, which Andrew and I always say there's plenty of room for Van Halen. There's plenty of topics for Van Halen. There's plenty of fans for Van Halen, unless you're watching the Grammys. So thank you all, and appreciate it. Did I miss
I
anyone?
just want to echo what you. No. But I just want to echo what you said. This is one of the great things about social media, isn't it, Kurt and Brad and everyone in the chat? You can meet people that are like-minded, that share the same interests that you have, and this is a great time. This is one of the great things about the passing of Eddie Van Halen. It's given an opportunity for fans like us to come together to talk about his music, his legacy, what he meant for us as individuals when we were growing up, and what he means for us now as old men. Because that's the key. That's the power of music. And Van Halen was, what do they say? What do the radio adverts say? He was the sound. Van Halen was one of the soundtracks to our lives, and it's still going. So, rest in peace, EVH.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we had Wolfgang Van Halen's birthday, 3/16, last week. Wolfgang, if you're watching, probably slim chance, but happy late belated birthday. Saw the picture of you and your girlfriend together. He's got it going on too there. Keep her happy. Happy birthday, Wolfgang.
Happy birthday. And I bought my guitar on his birthday.
Oh,
awesome.
You did?
Awesome. And if you missed the show that we did, the unboxing that Brad kindly gave the time for the channel to do live a couple of days ago, he's got it there, and if you play your cards right,
look at that thing.
He'll pull it out and show you.
Oh. It's like a specimen of God. Look at that thing. Hey, Johnny, does that thing look familiar? Like maybe 1992, 93 time frame? Seriously.
Hey,
that looks like Johnny's brand new.
Hey, Thomas. Oh, man, that's beautiful. Man, that's beautiful. Yeah, that's untouched, man.
It's baby. Its neck is untouched, really. It's hardly played. It's just gorgeous. Yeah, 2009. So this came out. This was built in 2009, September 24th. I looked it up from the serial number, and I'm going to be making a few changes, just string gauges and a few adjustments, but nothing to modify the guitar at all. But that's about it. It's just she's a monster.
She's
so
a beauty.
You're not going to put the 5150 decal on, but you might flip that neck pickup, and you're going to put some clasp and hooks on when you get a parcel in the post.
Yeah, I'll do that. But but I'm not going to. I'll reverse the neck pickup. I'll give that a try when I change the strings, and I'm going to change the gauge strings, and just going to try and adjust the Floyd a little bit, just because it's pretty tight. I'll find it.
How many springs does it have? Do you have the spring cover on the back? So I would take that off, and I don't know. That's up to you, but Eddie used to take all of his off to let him breathe.
Like I said, I've been working so much. I literally haven't had time to play it, other than a couple of little things I posted, and that was about it. So once I get a bit of time up my sleeve, this weekend's pretty busy as well. But next week, I'm going to put it on my guitar bench and start from ground zero up. I've ordered some strings. I've got new strings coming for her, different gauge to what I use, but I thought I might as well do the EVH thing and put the right gauge strings on it and everything. So, yeah.
Hold on. Here he is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Hey, James.
I was gonna look, Brad, and see how many trim springs Eddie had on his. Give me a second here. I'll find it.
2.
I think it is it 2?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it's 2, bro. Because
that'll really change.
if mine's got 2, Eddie's has 2.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely going to give it some tender loving care.
Hey, Fruitcake Tony.
Hey, Fruitcake, you just missed it, man. We gave you a huge spotlight on your show.
Yeah, go back to the intro, bro. Yeah. Hold on, brother. Hold on. Where are you? There you are.
You see that, Brad?
Yep.
2.
Springs. And real quick, while we're talking about this guitar, I have this ticket stub from the Bounce tour. This is the same show that Mr. Steve Anderson went to, September 6, 1995. I have the concert, whatever you want to call it, concert book.
Program?
And we played a flame top amber Music Man during that show with 5150 decals on the below the bridge. So he didn't play his number one amber that he always played, but he actually played a flame top with 5150 stickers on it. So I have pictures, Brad. I'll shoot them to you from that show. Yeah. But that was, I think, it was his number 2 guitar. He had the quilt top, and then the flame top was his number 2. And Johnny, I don't know if he's still on here. I don't know if those decals were black or if they were silver. I can't remember. It's really hard to tell in some of the live shots because of the lighting. They may have been reflective silver 5150 stickers, but his number 2 was the flame top.
Yeah.
So my first Van Halen concert, he walked out with that guitar playing 7th Seal, and I almost blew my seal because I was 17, 18 years old, and I had to go to the bathroom to get some napkins. That's how good it was.
Fruitcake Tony, I've been working really hard the last couple of days since I've had it, so I've picked it up and played it for a tiny bit here and there, but I'm definitely going to get some bonding time with it next week for sure. I'm going to make time. Got to bond with it, but it's just a beautiful guitar, beautiful neck, beautiful. Sounds amazing. Straight into my Marshalls, just amazing.
Well, this is why I appreciate your guys' participation on the show, because you could be playing that guitar now, bro, but you're live with us, so never take your time for granted. Yeah, never take your guys' time for granted. Thank you for being part of the show, and we've got 10 people watching, so we always appreciate any support the channel gets. Share the channel, go into the draw to win a Van Halen t-shirt, and we are a channel that promises to do that. This is not a bull crap competition. We will do that, and just help us share the channel. And I'm going to, while we're talking about sharing things, if you give me 2 seconds, there is Brad. That's his website, www.brad-cook.com. You can check Brad out there, but probably the best place to hook up to Brad will be there on Instagram, easy, at Bradcookmusic. Brad does lots of things on his channel, and if you participate and sub to him, you can keep in touch with what we're doing here, as well as the Rev. You can catch him there at Kurt5150. And if you'll notice too that we are the 5150s now, we've officially changed our names. I'm Andrew 5150. Proud to carry that name.
Dude, so you guys are pissing me off. My first debit card, 5150 was my PIN code to get cash out of my bank account. And still, to this day, the PIN code for my card is 5150.
Okay, so the issue is to get that card. Now, God help you if you try and get that card,
Yeah.
because you got to go through Fort Knox to get that card. But
Yeah.
at least
my
you know.
My second passcode is OU812316 on damn near everything. And it's been that way since I was probably 15, since the internet came out. Like, isn't that sickening?
Wow.
So pretty much you've just told the entire world your passcodes and PIN codes.
I got $10 in my checking account. It's not going to get them very far.
Yeah, I got -10, mate. Don't worry.
No.
Hey, Heck.
You saw the stack of strings I have. I'm broke.
Yeah.
KXM Rock, thank you for joining us. Nice to see you guys. Look, guys, so the album we're going to discuss this week, or this show, is Women and Children First. There it is there. I'll just present. Yeah.
Look at that. That's a tour book. Johnny, thank you.
Oh,
tour
did
book.
you ever see? Yeah. Yep. So, recorded December 79, released in February 1980. The most important third album for a band or an artist, according to all the rock biographies and all the record companies. The most important album is for the reputation and legacy of an artist or a band is the third album. Do you guys have any opinions about that? Do you know why the third album apparently is supposed to be, an important thing?
Maybe because it's like you've got to that point where your foundationals should be set up, and that's when you start progressing and moving forward. Probably the first album is usually experimental, putting all your songs out there, and the second one's usually following that up. But these guys had, from my understanding, they pretty much had a lot of this stuff demoed, like first two albums at least. So yeah, the third album was just a continuation, really, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Well, Johnny
for me,
Bean says it's the album that gets you dropped if it sucks. So I suppose from a contract point of view, maybe that's pretty important. So sorry for interrupting, Kurt. Sorry.
No, the chat's important. I'm a huge sports fanatic, so I always bring it to sports. Contract year in football or baseball is always the third year. You have your rookie year, your sophomore year, and then your freshman year is time to bring it, or your after your sophomore year. So this one, and Brad hit the nail on the head. The first two albums were all stuff they had written pre being signed, and this one was, all right, now you guys got to go in the studio and you got to produce something fresh off the cuff, out of feel what you've written on the road, which I'll get into later. But it's like the proof's in the pudding. You could be a band pre being signed for 5 years and have a bunch of content and a bunch of stuff that your muscle memory can carry over to your first two albums, because you've played it for 5 years. It's fresh, it's hot, you know how to play it, you've done it for a long time. Now it's time to write something fresh and new and be able to put it on record, have people like it, be able to play it live, and have people be able to regurgitate it.
Well, it's an album that's, important because it doesn't have covers, So from that point of view, they were successful there. But having said that, though, Brad and Kurt, there's a couple of numbers on here which go back to 1974. So without talking about those songs specifically, maybe that's kind of like going back to cover territory. Do you understand what I mean? So, they've been playing these songs for a while. So, is that a harsh comment to make, or was it just, that these songs are really, really good and, they wanted to bring them out and they were best suited for this album during this time?
Well, they obviously knew the songs really well because they went in and recorded them in such a short period of time. Was it like 4 days or something? They tracked all the instrumentation side of it. 6 days in total.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was 4 days though on the beds basically, and they were done live pretty much. So
yeah,
unbelievable.
Yeah. What I'm thinking too, Andrew, is that all their good stuff was hopefully already used in the first 2 albums. So some of the stuff that was carryover wasn't the best of the best. It might have been, I don't want to call it garbage, but not the cream of the crop. It was stuff that they had decided to pass on during the first 2 albums. So the carryover stuff from the club days or from the Warner Brothers demo was carryover stuff. It was stuff they didn't choose for the first 2 albums. So it may not have been the best of the best. So the carryover stuff, I would say, was a little bit dicey because it wasn't the first choice. It was the third choice.
Yeah, and sorry, mate, I got the release date wrong. I said February. It was released in, I'm just looking at my notes here, released in March 1980, and went on, was certified gold in May. So, that was a hot seller. It was a hot seller of an album. Gold in a couple of months.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty crazy, isn't it? Like, really, I think it was received better than the first 2 records, the critics.
Yeah. I agree. 1980 is an important year. Also for the band, Eddie got married, and according to the research I've done, in 81, Michael got married. So, half of the band were married, settled, trying to lead some kind of, family life, and the other 2 members of the band were still in party mode. So, that's an interesting dynamic for the band moving forward in the 80s. Pretty interesting, isn't it, when you go back, guys? We're going backwards in the sequence of albums, which is pretty interesting. So what do you guys think about, before we get into ranking the tracks? I've got a couple of questions, obviously, about this album being the bridge from the 70s versions or understanding of what Van Halen was as a band to the 80s. Is this a stepping stone in that direction at all, or is it just a third album?
I kind of think it's just a third album. I'm not sure they intended it to be. It just sounds like them moving forward to me. That's just my opinion. Obviously, I'm not sure whether they intended it to give it. I mean, a new decade to them might not have even mattered when they were in the process of just writing and recording. So, yeah, I'm not 100% sure how to answer that one, Andrew, but that would be my opinion on that one.
Yeah,
that was a safe answer, Brad. That was a safe answer, I would say.
What's your answer? Rev?
I'm poking the bear. That's all I'm doing. If I was within arm's reach of him, he would grab me by the neck and probably slam me onto the ground, onto the mat in the octagon. But
cage fighter.
For me, I think this album is a bridge into the 80s. And Andrew, you and I had the pleasure of talking about this prior to the show in the green room, but Van Halen was always kind of known as the godfather of the 80s hair metal bands. And you got to think Twisted Sister, Motley Crue, Poison, all those bands weren't even touching the surface, but Van Halen were starting it in 78, 79, and the 70s were over, the 80s were starting, and I think Van Halen was a step ahead of everyone else, and everyone followed their mantra, their live performance, their look, their sound. Everyone followed what Van Halen was doing. I mean, the biggest telltale sign is they purchased the Bee Gees sound and stage equipment for their tour on this album, which, as we all know, the Bee Gees were a huge staple in the 70s. And then here we are, Van Halen's almost taken the torch and transforming it into the 80s, into the, I call it the butt rock era, because everyone was wearing tights, you know. This was the beginning of the big hair butt rock era that started in 83, and Van Halen was ahead of the curve, and they're the ones that started it, and everyone followed year after, or the year or 2 years after.
Oh, look, I think you've hit the nail on the head. You know, getting that rig from the Bee Gees was significant because of, you know, that late 70s disco thing going with lights and all that. And if you look at Saturday Night Fever, you've got, you've got the coloured dance floor, and having that in a rock venue with a rock band was revolutionary, you know, having different lights changing, you know, and you know, they understood clearly, and the management also too, you know, we got to hand it to the management, that it was an experience. You know, you were also, you know, you weren't just watching a band, you know, one of the world's premier rock bands and one of the world's best guitarists, but you were there participating in an event, in something significant. So yeah, I agree with you. If you go and have a look at some of those mid-1980 hair bands, Poison videos and all that, you know, you can see, you know, even Bon Jovi, you can just see that whole you know, thing, that whole vibe, that whole genre was built from Van Halen. No argument from me.
Yeah, they carried it across from the 70s though, didn't they? Like from the late 70s, they just continued across. It was like, yeah, this is what we're doing.
Well, isn't it funny? You look at some of those photos, and they're wearing high heels, platform shoes, and bell bottoms, you know, and waistcoats, and then, you know,
I wear that now. What are you talking about?
That's pretty much what you. Pretty much what you too. When Andrew goes out on a Friday or Saturday night, that's what he wears, Kurt. Didn't you know that?
Hey. It's those leather buttless chaps, guys. I keep telling you.
There's no such thing as buttless chaps. Chaps are buttless, regardless of what they are.
Okay. All right, then.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, my God. This is a family show, guys.
It's like saying you got a sunroof on a convertible.
No. Look, give me those pink pants that Eddie's wearing in here any day. Those pink puff pants, mate.
Yeah. I'll take the ripped up jeans from Live Right Here, Right Now. That's my style.
Awesome. I think those pink pants would look good on you, Andrew.
Oh my gosh.
It would. It would bring the brown out in your eyes.
You too. Okay, guys. So look. Yeah. Okay. So it's an important album. And I suppose when we go through the tracks, we're probably going to talk about whether or not it was a significant album. I'm going to say this. I think this album is very much closer to Fair Warning than I thought. You know, after us having gone through Fair Warning, I just can't get over actually how familiar the tone is on this album with Fair Warning. There's very much, you know, that guitar, that Brown sound connection. And I listened to a couple of songs earlier in the week just to see if my ears were attuned from Van Halen too. And yeah, there's definitely a different guitar tone going on. Did you guys pick that up at all? Or was that just me?
Yeah. Brad, what did you think of the tone?
It's sort of, it's like just a natural thing. He's just gone in and tried to pull you know, they probably spent one and a half days trying to get sounds in the studio and press record button. So basically they were just, you know, that was his sound at that point. Obviously he kept changing his sound, but I still think by the time they got to Fair Warning, he'd refined his sound a little bit more again. It was a little bit more refined again from this, but it's that you know, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, you can hear it changing. And in this one, it sort of gets closer to Fair Warning. And in Fair Warning, it's sort of like, in my opinion, the perfect Roth era tone. It's like, that's for me anyway. So,
okay, guys. Well, that probably gets us into the first track, because you know I listened to this album in 1982, 2 years after it came out, when I discovered Van Halen. So I'd been listening to Diver Down for a while, and then Fair Warning, and then listening to this album. And again, comparing this album to Diver Down, it's just remarkable as far as the guitar tone goes. You know, it was just, even for my young ears back then. But when I heard the first song, And the Cradle Will Rock, and I know that you guys will talk about this in depth.
I got a little bit I want to talk about the album before we move on to Cradle Rock, if that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. I was just being clever and doing a segue because we were talking about tones. Sorry, brother.
No, this is
what happens with.
I hate to take over the show. This is the time where the people in the chat, you know, get the popcorn and they nestle down in their chair. They grab a blanket, because I'm about ready to spit some game for the next 15 minutes. Just a little bit of facts about this 1980 album, if that's okay.
Hey, Lenny.
If you don't want me to, Andrew, I'll save it for another decade.
Andrew, I think it's time that you played the intro.
Okay, all right then.
The producer's in. The producer's in.
Hold on. Here, where is he?
Tune into the 5150 show if you want to be schooled by Reverend Kurt, to learn and be blessed by all the translations and facts about Van Halen.
Amen.
I love it.
Yeah, the Reverend has spoken. So I can't, even though I'm not showcasing this album, Andrew, I can't take the data lightly. So I'm just going to give you guys a few things about this album, what it means to me, what I think about it. So the band, they were road worn from the being their coming back from their first headliner in '79 from the Van Halen 2 tour. First two albums were 90% of Club Day songs, like I talked about. And this album was truly written on the road or in Dave's basement. So that's the difference between the first two albums. Is this one, a few of them were some Club Day 1974 songs, which we'll get into later. But the rest of them were actually written either in Dave's basement or in the studio. So I think the concept of the songs are a little bit different than the first two albums, and that's what kind of separates the two. So in Sunset Sound, it took 4 days to track the instrumental part of the music. Like Brad said, it took 6 days to lay down the vocals to get it perfect. In my opinion, I don't think they were happy with the way that the vocals were going, so they took a little bit more time to make sure that they got the vocals the way they wanted them. And with that to say, definitely they wanted to perform everything live when they were tracking this, kind of like they did the first two albums. But I read a couple articles where Eddie did talk about how he did some overdubs, but they were still trying to do that track it live, process. So let me see here. In 1995, a session versions of this album was leaked to the media, and we had this. And you don't have to. Well, you did anyway, but that's all right. So they had this Sessions album, which came out, which I don't know if these songs were done and recorded in Dave's basement or if they were raw.
Oh no,
he's timed himself out again. Hey, Brad. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, that Brad fella in the chat. We're gonna time that Brad fella out in the chat.
Come back,
I
Brad.
think
I mean,
I'm here.
Kurt, come back, Kurt.
Earth to Kurt. He's been called by
Kurt.
he's been called by God.
Yeah, well, it better not be for blasphemy.
I was really getting deep into what he was explaining there too, which is a bummer. I was really enjoying that.
Yeah. When was the first time you heard this album?
This is probably one like I've explained earlier in earlier episodes. I pretty much went backwards from Carnal Knowledge. I already had 5150. I bought Carnal Knowledge, and I went back 84, and then this is probably like Van Halen 1 and 2 I got before this one. So this is probably the last Van Halen record I ever bought. And then obviously Balance came out at the time, and I bought that, and moving forward sort of kept buying them as they were released. But yeah, so this album for me was not one that got a lot of spin or rotation out of all the albums at first, but it definitely deserves to be played. I mean, we've had 3 weeks now to absorb this one, Andrew. So, I've had a bit of a break from it this week, and then listened to it again today at work. And it's this one for me. It does sound like a bit of a road, like Kurt was saying, and I don't want to take Kurt's spotlight here by explaining all the stuff that because I think I've read a few of the same articles he has, but that a lot of this was written on the road, so you can hear it in the songs, I think. And I know David Lee Roth sort of has been quoted as saying he didn't like the word that they'd matured when they by the time, because people were saying they'd matured when they started, when they'd heard this, they said they were hearing this album as being a bit more mature than Van Halen 1 and 2, but it was just, they were still a party band. They were still rocking. They were still doing their thing. They were just worn out from the road, and that's how the songs came out. So, but for me, it's like that segue into Fair Warning, without a doubt, like you mentioned before, Andrew.
Yeah, look, so, I agree with you.
And you can see the direction, I think, especially Ed, with his playing and his like writing, the way he was writing, you can see the direction he was starting to go. There's some sludgy, chuggy chords and stuff in these songs, which I don't want to sort of spoil all my my notes on the songs when we're ranking them, but he was, and his brown sound became sludgy, like it was almost like it was starting to sound browner and sludgier as well, but his chordal changes and everything in this became a little bit more closer to what he was doing in Fair Warning.
Oh, big time, and that's a note that I've made on a couple of the songs too. The brown sound is significant on this album. If you pay attention to it, and it was remarkable to me when I was listening to it in preparation for the show. But yeah, I'll stand by that fact that it's closer to Fair Warning than Van Halen 2. It's just. And again, I think we've got to be careful about what David Lee Roth says in a lot of his interviews. The fact that he may have got upset because someone said, the band had matured. Well, clearly they have. The tone, the sound on this album, it's a matured tone and sound than the previous 2 albums. And the fans are allowed to say that. The rhythm section is more pronounced on this album, and we'll get to talk about that in some of the songs, because some of the bass playing on some of these numbers, it's just phenomenal.
Well, the rhythm section are really tight on this record, and not that they weren't before, but they come together a little bit more with time, road time. They're playing gigs all the time together. So, of course, they're going to mature a little bit. But in my opinion, from the opening track, you can almost tell that they've evolved a little bit from the first 2 records, And in preparation for this show, I did listen to some of the demos that were based around some of the tracks off here. And, you can see they were writing that way earlier, but they did evolve because the way the songs were recorded by the time they were on this record, they definitely had evolved. And Ed's guitar playing, his solos on this, still Ed. You can still tell it's him playing, but you can hear, Van Halen 1 to 2, he sort of became a little bit more settled as a player. And in this record, he's really got his feet on the ground. Not that he wasn't settled on the first two records, guys. Is not what I'm saying. He sounds like he's out there like an alien on the first one, and then the second one, same thing. And this one, I think he found his feet on the ground as a guitarist within the song a little bit,
Yeah. Oh, look, I agree with you. I just want to do a shout out to John BL 5150. You've got your brothers here, John BL 5150. I'm Andrew 5150, and over there is Brad 5150, and we're waiting for Kurt 5150 to jump back into the show. So we're just flying some thoughts while we get back to the structured side of the show. Look, I agree with you. I think one of the benefits I've had personally about doing these ranking albums for Van Halen, it's indicated and pointed out to me clearly this album is important because of the guitar playing and the tone from Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2. Now, Van Halen 1 will always be, a significant album for us all. Here he is. Hey, Rev.
Next time I get online, give me a heads up, before you kick me out.
Don't blame us. Oh my. Oh.
Rat. I know. I apologize. My computer just died. I don't know what happened. I had to reboot it.
Oh. Well, welcome back. So we weren't saying anything significant. We were waiting for you because we were waiting to get schooled. So school us, Rev.
Jeez Louise. So anyway, I was talking about this album, and you don't have to isolate me, but this Sessions album came out. I'm a little flustered, so apologize. But
take a deep breath.
What's that?
Take a deep breath. It's okay.
Take a deep breath. Prior to this album coming out, this Sessions bootleg, we want to call it, came out in '95, and it had a bunch of tracks raw recorded, either done, like I said, in Dave's basement, or it was done in Sunset Sound before they fixed it up. But it came out on CD, and then later it came out on vinyl. Really cool. I just picked this up on eBay. It's one of those red vinyl records, if anyone has it. It's got some cool pictures on it. But I wanted to play two little blurts out of this session that really aren't even relevant to this album. One is, you guys will have to school me, it's either Fair Warning or Van Halen 2 intro on the beginning of Everybody Wants Some. And then pre-solo, there's a riff that Eddie eventually used on 5150 with Get Up. So if you guys want to let me play a couple seconds of this Sessions, if that's cool.
Do it.
No problem, brother.
Yeah. Let me cue it up here. I had it all ready till my computer crashed and went kapoo-poo.
That's okay.
So obviously that was the beginning of Everybody Wants Some, but the beginning intro, what did that sound like to you guys? You're not either Woman in Love or
Dance,
what's
dance
about
the night
Fair
away.
Warning. What's that? Dance the Night Away. Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, and I'm going to play you this riff here that resembles Get Up from 5150. Give me a second here.
Hey, Mike.
So there's a bunch of cool tidbits that you can pick off this sessions. All this stuff's on YouTube. There's a full unreleased instrumental, they call it, that is just a full Van Halen jam that you can pick up off this. If you don't want to purchase it, go listen to it on YouTube. So really cool that they had some somewhat unreleased stuff off this album, because I think really outside of the recent stuff that they posted off 5150, that's really the only unreleased stuff that they've that us as fans have been able to pick up. Also, I want to talk about the Inside Magazine. They did a quick article back in, when was this? It was issue 9, but they actually posted Andrew and I tried to do this earlier. It's really hard to read, but they posted the 3 albums, Van Halen 1, Van Halen 2, and Van Halen 3, and they picked the songs and the guitars that Eddie used in the songs and the actual effects that he used in the songs. And I thought one thing that was really cool for Women and Children First, and we can dive into this when we do Van Halen 1 and 2, but he primarily used 3 guitars on this album. And it was his regular red and white Stratocaster, Frankenstrat, that we all know that it was actually freshly painted, that he painted on the tail end of the Van Halen 2 tour. And then he used a 335. He used a Rickenbacker 12-string. And he actually used an Ibanez Destroyer in recording this album. And most people don't know it wasn't the Shark. So if you guys look at all the promo photographs that Zlozauer did and the cover for the album, Eddie's he's showcasing the Ibanez Destroyer Shark, but as we all know, that sucker didn't sound the same after he cut the chunk out of the bottom. And real quick, let me show you a picture. This is a famous photo that they actually did. I believe this was done in Dave's basement. There you can see the Shark right here. But Eddie loved the sound that came out of that Shark, and he used that guitar pretty frequent in Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2. But after he cut the chunk out of it, it wasn't getting the same tone that it was getting before. And I'm not sure if you guys knew this or not, but the turnbuckles that he put in the bottom of the cutout, do you know why you put those in there, Andrew?
Have no idea. Have no idea, Rev. Please don't scold me too hard for not knowing the answer to that.
You already kicked me out once, so I'm not going to say anything to you.
Thank
But
you.
he was trying to get the resonant of the guitar back together. So he thought since I cut this wood out, the tone isn't the same. So if I put these 2 turnbuckles in here, maybe I can bring the rest of the wood together to get that full tone that the bottom of these Ibanez Destroyer get, and it didn't work. So those turnbuckles aren't for looks. He was trying to fix the mess up that he did when he cut that shark apart. So with that being said, when it came time to record this album, he called his buddy Chris Holmes
From Wasp.
Right, exactly. And he borrowed his Ibanez Destroyer, and I'm going to quickly show you guys a photo of it. Give me a second here.
No problem.
This is technology at its finest. I just got to be able to share this real quick.
No problem, brother. No problem. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Appreciate it.
There you go.
Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button.
Can you guys see my screen?
There it is there.
Andrew, can you see my screen?
Yep. You're on.
Okay, so that's the Shark Destroyer. Exact same year that Eddie had prior to cutting it up. It's that Carina wood, rosewood fretboard, and he couldn't get the sound that he was getting off the Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2 sound, because back then, I'm going to show you guys another picture if I can do this correctly. If I can, this is going to be a good day. For me, it's a lot better than showing it on your phone.
Yeah, no problem. We should do this more often.
All right. You guys see that?
There it is, brother.
There it is. So that's Eddie's Ibanez Destroyer prior to cutting it up. Yep. And originally it was that Carina natural wood color, and then he painted it white, and then he took a freaking hacksaw to it and a chainsaw, he says, but I think it was a hacksaw or a jigsaw, and he cut the hole on the bottom, the triangle out, and the thing just didn't sound the same. So what did he do? He borrowed Chris Holmes's Destroyer, which we'll show another photo here. You guys see that? Look at this. I can actually scroll through these, I think. Let me know if it's working, Andrew. So you guys see this Destroyer down there in the corner?
Yes.
Yep.
Along with the Wurlitzer. And that Les Paul, baby. And guess what, Brad? That sucker doesn't have a pickup in the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
He's covering it up with his hand. Can you believe that? That's like blasphemy. That's blasphemy. The Wurlitzer piano that Eddie's sitting in front of, and I think Michael's got his hand on, of course, is the one used in the Cradle Will Rock. There's another cool photo.
I thought that was a guitar.
We'll get to that later, Andrew. The reason I put this picture on is because it's an outtake of the photo that's on the cover. As you can see, there's the person with the camera, and you can see the little light shield or whatever that person's holding. That's kind of a cool photo. I don't know if any of you guys in the chat have ever seen that one. Pretty cool, huh?
Pretty cool.
There's another one. Eddie holding the Destroyer down there. And then this other photo on top must have been a different outfits they wore during the photo shoot. Yeah, this is perfect. I love floating through these photos. This works great for me. Here's another photo.
Awesome.
You can see the cameraman. I don't know. They must have been taking video of this. But there's Dave. He's got his arm softly wrapped around Eddie's bicep as he's holding the shark. And then Michael laughing. There's the Shark Destroyer right there from Niels Lozauer. You can see the huge cut. And I think one of the problems was he made that cut trying to make it into a star. He cut that thing too close to the bridge. and he took out all that wood, which we all know wood's tone, right?
Yep.
So that's a cool photo. This is another great one. There's Chris Holmes's Destroyer. Eddie's holding this mandolin. If any of you guys have read Ted Templeton's book, Eddie actually smashed this mandolin in the middle of one of their recording sessions as a prank to Ted Templeton. Him and Don Landy and David Lee Roth had pre-planned it, and they recorded the whole thing. And Eddie said a few choice swear words and smashed the mandolin right in front of Ted Templeton. Do you remember that part, Andrew, in the book? No? Here's another unfinished guitar, Brad, in the corner next to the Les Paul. A lot of people speculate this could either be the Rude guitar or the Circles guitar that was originally changed to the Rasta. One or the other, we're not sure. So this is that pre-painted. And then, Brad, there's the 59 Les Paul with no Freddie AF in the bridge. What was he thinking? I think eventually he put it back, but as we know, Eddie with his theory, he had a reason behind it, and I'll take his reasoning to the bank. And then the Bumblebee, which everyone always wonders if he ever used the Bumblebee in any of the albums. In that magazine that I showed you guys earlier, it doesn't have the Bumblebee in there once as a guitar he used to record any tracks in Van Halen 2 or this album. There's another photo.
So all these photos are taken at Sunset Studios, aren't they?
Yep, all taken at Sunset Studios. Here's another one. Look at the ashtray down there. Remember those things?
Unfortunately.
Yeah. There's another one of the mandolin and Dave looking down at who knows what he's looking at. All right. There's the picture of Eddie's original Ibanez Destroyer pre-white paint. So that's it in its Carina wood stage before he painted it white. It's a pretty rare photo right there. It's got the cigarette and the headstock. Pretty cool, huh?
Not bad.
Very
there
cool.
It is in its final form with the shark painted, striped, turnbuckles down in the bass part of the guitar. He's got his strings flailed after the tuners, like, I don't have time to cut them. I don't care what it looks like. It's all about how it sounds, right? That was his mantra. There's the Chris Holmes's Destroyer. And the funny thing is Brad, when he returned this Destroyer back to Chris Holmes, it was missing one of the pickups. Completely gone. And Chris had no idea where it went. Ed never replaced it. But, he took one of the pickups out, either for recording or he used the pickup in something else with one of his science projects. We saw that one. There's another picture. Yeah, go ahead.
Did he, with Chris Holmes's guitar, did he reverse the bridge pickup? That's what I was led to believe with something I researched.
Oh, you mean like put the neck pickup down to the bridge, or turn it like
No,
turn the
they
poles
reversed it around, like actually backwards.
No, so the poles were on top. The screw poles were on top instead of down below.
I can't say that I've seen it. Like I read somewhere that's where. Where did I read that? I've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see if the bridge is flipped around or not, but
it's hard to tell.
Yeah, that you got me stumped on that one, Brad. Good job. So there's the shark again. Here's the infamous photo that Dave did at that's in front of his pool at his mansion. And this made 1 million albums. The first 1 million albums got a big, huge poster of Dave tied up against the fence. Not sure why anyone would want that, even if you're a female. But is that, I don't know, is that Alex right there helping tie him up? He doesn't look too happy. Here's another photo shoot. Looks like Dave's got us wrapped pretty high on Dave's inner thigh, which would make me uncomfortable. And then Alex and his he's got Alex in his sweet bib overalls that Brad wears on the weekends. Here's a good shot of the Les Paul, Brad. Check out the pickup. You see that?
Yeah, it's gone.
In the infamous pink overalls that Eddie wore in that photo shoot.
Jumpsuit.
Okay, here's another rare shot, Andrew, of the photo shoot. I think this was done downstairs in Dave's basement where they used to rehearse. But this is that photo that everyone's seen with the backdrop and all the rest of the shenanigans around it. So that's a really cool pic.
Yep.
Star guitar, snake dragon. You see the Frankenstrat with the white pick guard, the bumblebee, the megazone. There's the photo right there. Super iconic photo. There's another one. And then that guitar we'll talk about later. All right. That's all I got. Sorry for getting shut off earlier.
No worries. Thanks, Kurt. That was awesome.
Let's see. Talked about the Destroyer real quick, and I'll turn it over to the first album. On tour, the band, Brad's like, oh, we're still talking about the album? So on tour, this was their big, huge, hey, we're here, we're Van Halen. Van Halen 2 was their first headlining tour. This was their sophomore attempt at headlining the tour. Huge, massive sound system that they purchased from the Bee Gees. Pretty fitting that we talked about earlier with the 70s translating into the 80s. This is where the band staked their claim as a massive party band and the biggest U.S. act in the industry. For sure, hands down, Van Halen was the biggest live act in rock and roll. So Michael Anthony, he used the Wurlitzer piano that was stashed away in 2 World War II bombs that we'll talk about later in one of the songs. Real cool fact, this tour actually kicked off in Spokane, Washington, which is 3 hours north of where I live. And that was the first official concert for this album, which was kind of cool. And actually a Dutch filmmaker came on tour and was actually going to document the whole tour. And for some reason, it never was produced. So somewhere there is footage and photos and audio of this tour that hopefully someday we'll see. And then lastly, Andrew, the brown M&M rider that the band put into their paperwork, that was created during this tour. So that's a big, I would say, highlight that we can't kind of overlook. And the reason they put that in is because of the massive equipment and for safety. They wanted to make sure that the people that were supplying the venues were actually looking at the rider and looking at the small print. And then August 29th in Shreveport, Louisiana, Valerie Bertinelli met Eddie Van Halen backstage. She went to the show with her brothers, and she used her brothers to get backstage because she found Eddie on the back of Van Halen 2, and she wanted to meet him. And the rest is history. So that's all I have on the beginning of this album. I know that was like an hour, and I need something to drink.
You got something there then, Rev? Because we don't want you fainting. Oh, hey, good on you. Good on you.
Well done, mate. Well done.
Fantastic.
Can we take this minute to thank Kurt for all that, because he does a lot of research on this. So well done, buddy. And if you love what you're hearing, make sure you subscribe if you're watching. And if you do, you get in the running to win a T-shirt of your choice from the Van Halen store. All you got to do is subscribe. It's that simple. And we're going to draw the winner live in a few weeks' time. So
Hey,
please, if
Nelson.
you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And yeah,
Yeah, Brad, thank you for saying that, because I know all this information, so I can keep it in my own little thimble of a dinky head that I have, but I share it with all the people in the chat, and I want all the people in the chat to share it with whoever, whether they're having coffee with someone or they're trying to introduce someone to Van Halen. So I'm sharing this information because I love it and I'm passionate about it. I'm not just trying to spew it out like a teacher. I really care about it, and it's kind of a cool thing. So my wife doesn't care about it, so I might as well look for someone that does.
Oh, well, I think what's one of the great things about YouTube, and it gives fans like ourselves, an organic composition to providing information to these acts, so, and it's distilling, I suppose, bits and pieces, 20 years, 30 years of articles into an hour and a half or 2 hours. So, that in itself is significant too. And believe it or not, we all learn ourselves. It's I'm not an expert at all, and I'm lucky to participate here with everyone else on the panel and everyone else in the chat. So yeah, it's all about sharing that passion, forming a gang, the 5150s.
Those people in the chat, if you don't want to see that anymore, because we still have a couple more shows we're doing, just say, hey, like, we could go without the slideshow, Kurt. Like, it's snooze fest. But if you want to see more of it, let me know. I'll do it again next show.
We've made the decision. We're going to do that. It's probably much easier.
It's a segment. It's a segment in our show. It's there. I found something that I was discussing earlier, so I'll just quickly highlight this before we dive into the songs, I guess. This is a quote from Chris Holmes when he got the guitar back, the Destroyer back from Eddie. So I think I made an error. He didn't reverse the bridge pickup. I think he might have reversed the bridge around on the guitar. Oh. So basically he's put here, where is it? When I got it back, the bridge was turned around backwards and all that intonation, it was just backwards to the way I would have had it. I just don't see how he would have played it that way, but he did. I've been to a few Van Halen shows, and I put on his guitar, and it's just the complete opposite of the way I set mine up. He'd have the strings about a mile off the fretboard. He likes his whammy bar so loose that he super glues the nut on the back of it so it spins around.
Oh, my gosh.
So that's a quote from Chris Holmes. So
yeah. So really cool, though, that he loved the tone and sound that came out of that Destroyer on the – I would really tailor it towards the Van Halen 1 album. And then he,
hi, Jeff,
like Eddie, screwed up and cut a hole in it, and it never sounded the same. And he reached out to Chris Holmes and borrowed his. And, man, I'm telling you what, I know Alan Garber – oh, well, here we go. He just showed up in the chat. Alan Garber has an Ibanez Destroyer, and, dude, I would love to have one. I just want to plug it in, turn it to 12, and let the hairs on the back of my arm just ring. I know those things just they have some tone. And Robot Master Switch, him and I have gone back and forth on those Destroyers or Explorers. Those things are a force to reckon with. They're like a 69 Chevelle with pipes.
And Alan's put another comment here saying it's the first album to feature the Ford Rose system as well too, whereas the previous two albums were just the standard Fender system.
Yep. Garber he's the man. Doctor. As I said on Rob Johnson's show, paging Dr. Garber, paging Dr. Garber to the front. We need your Ibanez Destroyer.
Yeah, and that's probably a shout out to the Rummeister. We know the Rummeister is busy with work commitments, and he does catch up with some of the shows. So we're going to do a shout out to the Rummeister because he was the one that gave Alan that nickname, Dr. Garber.
Really?
Yeah, that comes from the Rummeister. Okay, guys. First song. So,
Man.
look, like a lot of us, when I first heard that first track, I've got some in my research. I've got some comments here. Where are we? Hold on. Aggressive, heavy, raucous tone, completely different from anything else. I think in the first and second albums, if you were listening to it, first, second, and this album, but certainly to my ears, when I first heard it, when I was about 14 or 15, it was phenomenal, and I was sure that it was a guitar. We had no internet back in the early 1980s. There was no way that we knew that it could have been a Wurlitzer, which blew my mind when I came across some guitar magazines years later and tried to work that out, because I'm not a keyboard player at all, so I still blows me away. But before I pass it on to you guys, again, it's an indication, isn't it, of how important the keyboards were to Eddie Van Halen. It was his first instrument, his first love, and we can't forget that, because there are other songs that he goes on through the career where the keyboards becomes prominent, and who knows what Eddie would have done with keyboards into the future if he was still alive. Definitely a heavy song, and I think it sets the mood pretty well for the album, guys, and because of that I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. First single of the album, probably the only single, didn't chart too well, but by all accounts a firm favourite for all Van Halen fans. 10 out of 10. Brad?
Yeah, well, I sort of mirroring a little bit of what you said, Andrew, with the Wurlitzer, because to my ears it just sounds like a guitar through a Marshall, and obviously it's the Wurlitzer, amped through a Marshall amplifier, so it does have a guitar tendency. It's a great opening track, and obviously it's catchy in the verses, and the choruses are definitely like rock anthem worthy. You know what I mean? They've got that rock anthem vibe to them. Great feel on the drums and bass. Great solo from Ed, really classy, well done, and love the breakdown section. The flanger effects. It's the only single on the album. I reckon it's a great opening track. I gave it 10 out of 10 as well, Andrew. Great. Probably, for the era as well, an indication of where they were heading. Kurt?
Well, this song reminds me of David Lee Roth. Him and his overexposed tights, showing, got the blinds open on the front, in the front window of those things that are sacred and probably things your neighbor doesn't want to see. But for me, the overexposed tights, the fuzzy leggings, the boots that look like he had stripped a medium-sized dog and made some fuzzy boots out of. This is like that. I just immediately think of that video with David Lee Roth dancing with the tights and the fuzzy boots, and Eddie playing that Shark Destroyer. Classic video. This is a Van Halen favorite. When it comes on live, the fans go nuts. This song did, they recorded on the piano like you guys talked. The actual Wurlitzer that Eddie used on this song, a bunch of the keys were broken on the actual piano itself because he was pounding on it too hard. But he actually originally wrote this song while on tour on the bus on guitar, and then put it together on piano, of course, through his Marshall and through the flanger. And Ted Templeton was quoted to say, when he walked in the studio and he heard Eddie playing this through the Wurlitzer, it was one of the greatest things that he had ever heard. And he said, "Hey, let's put that on the record." And I think Eddie was just warming up. He had no plans of putting that piano part in the song versus doing it on guitar. Of course, they recorded it or he came up with it while on the Van Halen 2 tour. Let's see, what else do I have here? Eddie is quoted to say that he wrote the song Jump the day that he got this Wurlitzer piano. So he wrote Jump prior to writing And the Cradle Will Rock. So that's kind of a cool little piece of advice that he actually wrote the song Jump on this exact same piano before he even tracked And the Cradle Will Rock in 1980. Let's see. He uses Frankenstrat on the rhythm part of this song, and on the solo, he actually used this Gibson 335 for the solo part of this song.
Wow.
So for me, I don't rank this song very high just because it's been overplayed, and outside of the 1984 songs, this is probably the number one song that most non-Van Halen fans think of when they think of David Lee Roth era. It's a little overplayed for me. Not necessarily my favorite, but I love the solo and I love the Wurlitzer that he integrated to make it sound like a guitar. So I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Never a skip.
No, it's never a skip, and I think 7 is. I get where you're coming from with this album, and I'm going to rank this album with my virgin ears when I first heard it, if that's okay, guys. So, yeah, 7 out of 10. I get it. Blew me away, guys, that it was done with a keyboard. You know, I think it was about probably 84, 85. When I found out it was a keyboard. So it was, it was a long time, and and yeah, going back listening to it after finding that out was like, still doesn't sound like keyboards. So yeah,
they were wondering how he was getting those notes to stop on a guitar. They're like, how's he getting those notes not to ring? And then when they're finally they announced that it was done on the piano, it was like, oh, okay, that's how he did it.
Yeah. Awesome. So the next song, guys, is a 5-minute monster, which is interesting in itself. I've got a couple of quotes here from Martin Popoff. Everybody wants some is atmospheric and noisy to the point of nuisance, but nobody can sell a barely written song like Diamond Dave. Are we losing the rev again, or is he timing himself out?
I think he may have timed himself out, Andrew. I don't know why he timed himself out, but
okay.
You go on. We'll float the show now until he comes back. Okay. We'll be all right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that kind of sums up where the song goes. Those Tarzan calls at the beginning of the song, kind of, yeah, that's interesting in itself. I've made a note here about the bass. I think this is an indication of where the bass is going on this album, and there's some other songs where the bass is just wonderful. It's a stellar job. But, the bass on this song is phenomenal. What else have I got here, mate? I've got... so the solo is overdubbed. Are you back?
Yeah, I just had to go use the restroom. All good.
Oh, okay. I thought you timed yourself out. It was only a 7. But wait. Wait, mate, I've got some other scores here that probably you guys are going... Anyway, and I think one of the great things about this album too, and I think that Rev mentioned it in his introduction, is that it gave the band on this album an opportunity to do some overdubs, which I think they particularly liked, and gave Eddie, I think, an appreciation of the studio process of what he could do and what he couldn't do, and and as a guitar player, and developing his trade skill as a musician. What else have I got here? I've spoken about the bass. Interesting vocals from David Lee Roth. I've given this 8 out of 10 Um, and there are some fantastic live versions of this song. I think the song is probably better served when you hear some of the live versions out there. Brad?
Well, for me, I think my notes are very similar to yours, Andrew, and I'm not going to sort of repeat everything that you said for that reason, but I'm just some of the other highlights I've got. Cool drum intro. I really like the drums on the intro. Dave's voice on this one, he kind of shines a bit on this one to me for this song on this album. I love the awesome feedback control from Ed on the intro. He's the master of feedback and, sort of taking it to the next level from where Jimi Hendrix sort of left off, in my opinion, because Hendrix was the big feedback monster, and you can really hear Ed controlling all that feedback at the start. I love the big, great opening chords, But like I said, Dave's vocals in this, a classic David Lee Roth with all the screams highlighted throughout. It's some really nice use of the whammy bar by Ed, and the chorus is really catchy. Obviously, the solo lifts like to a happy vibe, even though the song's got sort of a happy energy to it. But it's a bit of a cheeky song. But it's like the solo goes to a happy place, and then it comes back to a breakdown with Dave's ad-libbing through it, that tongue-in-cheek ad-lib, which we'll keep it family-friendly. And everyone knows what I'm talking about here. And I really love the big outro ending as well. So I've given this 8 out of 10 as well. It's never a skip. It's a great song. But, 8 out of 10 from me. Kurt.
All right. Cool. A few more Reverend facts. Ted Templeton was watching Van Halen in Phoenix, Arizona in the 1979 Van Halen 2 tour. And he heard Dave on stage while he was stage left. And Dave yells out in the audience, "How about it, gentlemen? You guys got all these hot women in the crowd." And he said, "You Arizona guys, you are so lucky. But hey, I get it. Everybody wants some. And I want some too. How about you?" And the crowd went ballistic. Yeah, this is right out of Ted Templeton's book. So after the show, backstage, Ted went and grabbed Dave and he said, "Hey, write that down. I love it. Like, let's use that later. Write that down." And he said, "Write it down in your notebook. That's a great idea for a song." And, of course, eventually they pulled it back out. Melodic guitar with Eddie on this. The beginning is just like those cowboy chords ring out. That to me is Eddie Van Halen. You guys hear me say it's Eddie Van Halen in a can, right? While Dave was writing the lyrics to this song in the studio, Don Landy and Alex, they were actually dialing in Alex's toms for the day. And originally Eddie had some melodic guitar intro for the beginning of this song. And Ted Templeton said, "Hey, let's scrap the guitar melodic intro and let's go with that jungle drum sound that Alex is doing here while him and Don Landy are dialing in his drums." And Ted Templeton in his book was actually saying that he wanted to emulate the Cadets. They had a song called "Stranded in the Jungle." And Andrew, I'm just going to play the first 6 seconds of that song, if you guys are cool with that. So we can kind of hear where Ted Templeton's mind was. Here's the beginning of the Cadets, "Stranded in the Jungle." So that was kind of where Ted got the jungle drums at the beginning of that song. And of course, the Cadets, and you guys don't know, they're kind of a 50s R&B band. While Dave was in the vocal booth, and this is kind of coming out of Ted Templeton's book, and I actually messaged Greg Renoff to get, and I told Andrew about this. I messaged Greg Renoff to try to get some clarification on this song because I always wondered what was going on, and he gave me a little bit of tidbit via Instagram. So shout out to Greg Renoff if you're watching the show. Love you, man. Love your books. Everything you do is amazing. Everyone in the chat, Johnny Bean, Alan Garber, Andrew, Brad, we love your guys' stuff. So, Greg, keep it going. But in the book, he said that Dave had a great vibe, and he was ad-libbing and making comments while in the booth that a lot of them were X-rated and something that they didn't want to put on the album, but they had to catch it while they were doing it live because it was so dynamic and spur of the moment. Well, there were a few women in the waiting room of where the recording studio was that Dave could see in the recording booth. And he was actually talking to those two females. I don't know if you want to call them friends, girlfriends, roadies, whatever they were. But if you think, oh, I like the way the line runs on the back of your stocking. But if you guys know, in the song, at 3 minutes and 34 seconds, Dave starts to talk about, I like the way the line. And Eddie comes in with the guitar and almost steps on his ad lib. Well, apparently, this is what Greg told me, is whatever Dave said had a few F words in it. So that was their way of cutting up his ad lib without making it too obvious. So whatever Dave said in the ad lib, they put in place with Eddie's guitar and cut it out of the album, but they wanted to keep kind of the whole flow in that song. So I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not.
No.
No.
Did not know that.
So a little bit vulgar for the album, so they decided to cut it out and but keep the Dave, I don't know, you want to call it rap or whatever he does with his talking.
Right.
But yeah, he was looking through the studio walls trying to talk to these females. You can almost picture it when you listen to it. And great song. This is another one that is a little overplayed for me. You know, we really didn't talk much since I'm wrapping this song up, but we didn't talk about Better Off Dead with the Claymation Hamburger, which was a really cultural icon in the United States with the movie Better Off Dead, where they played this song while the hamburger walked around with a makeshift Star Eddie Van Halen striped guitar. But I give this song another 7 out of 10, as I feel that maybe it's a little overplayed, and I think a lot more better songs on this album that overshadow it. But yeah, that's a little bit about Everybody Wants Some.
Thank you,
I'm
Rev.
being real. I'm being real.
Thank you. No, appreciate it. Thank you for the background information, because that's what we're about. We're about sharing opinions and, even more importantly, facts as they come to light. And, you know, the Rev has gone out, touched base with a reputable Van Halen scholar, and he's given that information. So you heard it first here on the 5150 show.
Yeah, and one more thing too, Andrew, is Everybody Wants Some. The guitar part on that song was done in one take.
Wow.
I did not know that.
Yeah. I mean, that's Ed's. He was a machine. He was a machine.
Awesome. Okay. What do you guys think about the Rankin so far? We're on to the third song, if that's okay, guys. You know, near on 6 minutes. It's got a blues vibe going on there, and being a blues man myself, always appreciated that, and you know, loved that kind of blues vibe. And it's not surprising, you know, when you consider, you know, we're going to keep talking about this, aren't we? Where Eddie comes from, you know, he was inspired by Clapton, so playing the blues isn't anything foreign to him. Couple of reputable Van Halen scholars have called the song underdone, underwritten. And again, that's debatable. But what's a perfect song? You know. Yeah. So when people say it's underwritten, well, you know, I think that's probably a nice way of some people saying that it's, you know, not a good song. I don't know. You guys can tell me what you think when you can have an opportunity to talk about the song. Love the guitar tone. The guitar tone on this song is a little bit different from the previous songs, and I've noticed that. So the previous songs are quite related as far as tone, but we're getting something a little bit different here on this song, and perhaps the Rev will tell us why. There's got to be a reason. Again, I'm going to keep talking about this, guys, because I if there is one redeeming factor about this album, it's the bass tone. And again, I just love the way that the bass and the guitar are playing together in unison on this song. It's just wonderful. Guys, I have to be honest with you here. So I start. You can see my scribbles of the marks. You can see my scribbles here. I started giving it a 9 out of 10. Then I crossed it out and went to 8 out of 10. And then I've crossed it and I've given it a 7. My final score, guys, it's a 7 out of 10. But it's never a skip. Hey Jay, thanks for joining us.
Hey now.
Fools.
Yeah.
Nice bluesy guitar from Ed at the start, like you said, Andrew, with Dave adding some mimic style responses, very blues call and response type thing, which I thought was very cool. The intro part, within that intro there, it's fairly long sort of intro. It's got some great legato sort of playing, hammer on pull off stuff, legato there. And you can see where guys like Nuno, Richie Kotzen, Paul Gilbert, Vi, Satch, and all that cop that from. Some really sludgy chord sequences. It's an interesting structured song as well. Great harmonies, mirroring what you said there, Andrew, with the bass and the drums. You know, very together, very predominant, very holding it down like a good slab of concrete. The song has definitely got a bluesy chug. The call response guitar vocal parts throughout the song. The solo is out on the edge, and I love it when Ed kicks the effect in. I think it's a flange. I can't figure out whether it's a flange or Kurt might be able to sort of the section of the solo where the effect kicks in. I love that part. The outro, great playing as well from Ed, and we touched on Ed doing some overdubs. I think there's some really nice overdubs in this song, and I rated this song a couple of times as well, but I stuck with my original rating of 8 out of 10. And I'll pass it over to the Rev because he's no doubt probably going to give us some guitar info on this one.
There you go. Thank you. And quick shout out to J7/8, Jay Hannon, Gizmachi, and then John Bull, BL 5150. John BL could fit right in with all of us with the he's got the same last name as us, 5150. Isn't that wild?
Yeah, the 5150s, man. Yeah.
So Fools. The first minute and a half jam is awesome. Like, does it get any better than that? Like, I love it.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Until, the whole band comes into one and they kick in that harmony and like it's even better. So obviously Fools to me, I'm going to rank higher than the first two songs because I'm just super excited about it. Dave, let's see. You can hear Eddie's signature Phase 90. So, Brad, that's what it was. He used the Phase 90 and also a chorus on this song. He uses that Phase 90 kind of as like a EQ boost when he does his harmonics, his dips, his dives. That's what I love about Eddie is he doesn't use phaser to shift the voice of like his guitar. He actually uses it kind of as a boost. He steps on it, pulls it off, turns it on, turns it back on. Very kind of unorthodox way of using that as a boost. He does the same thing with the flanger, which is really cool. The background harmonies are classic VH. This is Michael Anthony at his best. You know, you can't beat the high harmonies that Anthony brings in along with Eddie. The guitar work on this song, it's almost a mashup of all of the tricks and things that Eddie brought to the table in Van Halen 1 and Van Halen 2. When I listen to it, it's all the stuff that no one had ever heard before that he kind of throws all into this song at once, which I really liked. Originally, this song was called I Live with Fools, but then they changed it to Fools. A great solo, kind of an unorthodox ending with Dave and his the Ice Cream Man, Beautiful Girls vibe that he does at the end. But I give this an 8 out of 10. And Brad, I'm sorry with that vocal dump that I just did. I hope you didn't lose your lunch.
It was actually quite good. Almost as good as Dave.
Not bad.
Or better.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, it's an interesting song, isn't it? Yeah. And I think we were pretty consistent there, guys, with our rankings. So, you know, it's good to see. So, yeah, the next track is Romeo Delight, and I'm going to quote something here because it's one of Van Halen's heaviest songs, and Alex's performance with almost constant crash cymbals as a ride is stellar. You know, it's apparently for some drummers it's a version of Eruption for drummers.
Hey, this is my youngest daughter, Ashlyn.
Yep.
Andrew got to meet all my family earlier, so she's actually meeting everyone live. This is the golfer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cheers from New Zealand. Nice to meet you.
Cheers.
And Brad's from Australia.
I'm Ashlyn.
Australia.
Nice to meet you guys.
And
Awesome.
say
You
everyone
got a
in
cool
chat-
dad.
Oh.
You look after him.
Cool.
Oh my gosh. Well, enjoy.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you.
She's brave to do that.
Well,
Sorry,
she must
guys.
take after her mum. She must take after her mum. So apparently, according to some drummers, it's a drummer's version of Eruption for a lot of drummers, up and coming drummers historically. Gosh, guys, I've given the song 8 out of 10. And it's a sometimes skip.
Okay. Romeo's Delight. I love the riff. I think the riff is great. The choruses are really cool. Great volume swells from Ed. Nice use of effects. Tough sounding song. It reminds me of a Sabbath vibe or even early Queen for some reason. I don't know if you guys picked up on that or not. Yeah. So, yeah. Definitely got a Sabbath vibe to it, I think. There's a great solo. Ed's ferocious,
Stop
in this
reading
one.
my notes.
Some great overdubbing parts after the solo. Drums and bass are holding it down. The heartbeat section, it's got a big cock rock ending, and all the song and pretty much all the songs have got like that live feel. But I really picked up in this song. It really feels like this was a live cut. That's pretty much how it feels to me. I don't know about you guys. I gave this one an 8 out of 10. It's definitely not a skip for me. I enjoy it.
Cool.
Tough.
Awesome. So Lenny Lou says, hi, sometimes your dad borrows my guitars. We kind of have this thing going where if I bring a guitar home or if I buy a guitar, I can just say, oh, I borrowed this from Lenny Lou. She's letting me borrow it. So she's got my back.
Thank you, Lenny.
Okay, Romeo Delight. This is the Van Halen fans have adopted this as the Van Halen opener. So any of you guys, I know Fruitcake Tony's in here. He's seen every tour except for the first tour, I believe, right, Tony? But after this album, this was the opening song for pretty much every show until they moved on with David Lee Roth. So I always, think about this song as the opening act of Van Halen playing live. Actually, when Wolfgang brought back Dave, if you guys have read, this is a plug to Andrew Bennett, which we're going to have on the show here soon. He talks about how Wolfgang got David Lee Roth back in the band. But thank you, Wolfie, because this was his idea to bring out starting song to be Romeo Delight. Here's my ticket for the 2012 tour. VIP pass, backstage pass, Tacoma Dome with Dave. But that was their opening song. And if you guys have ever seen, Van Halen play this song, Dave and Eddie kind of go into that back and forth with the harmony and the guitar. So really cool song. I actually give it a 9 out of 10. So I rank it a little bit higher than you guys. I call this a cult following for Van Halen fans. It's kind of a deep track. In the song, there's actually some clicking sound, which is Ed actually pushing the low E string down on the pickup pull, which he did later in the Diver Down album, where he used the high E string pushing on the pull, but no one really knew what that was, but that's kind of what he was doing. But Eddie, the playing on this song with the plucking, where he rolls the volume knob down, for me, it's one of my favorites. I love how he brought back the MXR flanger, which is actually my first effects pedal that I ever purchased, just because of Eddie Van Halen. He used that in this song. For me, it's one of my favorite effects, so I love this song. I'll give it a 9 out of 10. And of course,
good.
Like Barber says, Dave forgot the words during the US Festival on this song.
That's right. Awesome. Okay, so Brad's been reading my notes because Tora Tora we're going to obviously talk about as a separate song, even though it probably is a Okay, I've measured it as a separate song, rated as a separate song. So it's 1 minute heavy metal blast, isn't it, guys? And I've got Black Sabbath tribute. It's Van Halen's Black Sabbath tribute to Black Sabbath.
And that's what I wrote.
Did I see a 5? Did I see a 5 out of 10?
Yes.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh.
We're in sync. We're in sync.
Yeah. I was listening to Black Sabbath at the same time when I found this album, when I heard this album. Heaven and Hell with Ronnie James Dio was released in 1980. So I was listening to that album around and going backwards, listening to Black Sabbath. So that Black Sabbath vibe, Kurt and Brad, is in this album. But is it any surprise when you consider that they'd toured with them and and hung out with them, and Tony Iommi was an influence on Eddie? So whether or not that was conscious or unconscious, guys, look, I don't know. But look, I've rated this 5 out of 5. It's just one of those things clearly that Van Halen loved to do. It's just one of those little quirky Van Halen things. Brad.
Yeah, well, if I could flip my computer screen so you could see it, my notes are very similar. I've just put,
We're the 5150s.
because all my notes are on computer these days, so I put the backwards guitar and the very Black Sabbath vibe, like it's a Black Sabbath tribute, like it's their homage to Black Sabbath, in my opinion. It's sort of like, I don't know, they must have been listening, or must have just sort of, Ed might have just come up with the riff and they just went with it. So I love the spooky riff and tricks that he does on the guitar to give it like that sort of spookiness to the song, to suit the riff. But anyway, I gave it a 5 out of 10, and it's kind of a segue into the next song. So it was hard to rate, really. Because I don't really listen to it as a song on its own. But
yeah. And Johnny's right, it's a backward guitar part, so I'm sure the Rev is going to mention that too.
Yeah, and we're all 5 out of 5s here, so we're in sync. But for me, and I've said this before, every single little instrumental that Eddie does always stair steps into the next song. And for me, growing up in the tape era, like they were one and the same. So I never really considered Tora Tora and Lost Control 2 different songs, because you could just listen to them as one.
Yeah.
But on tracks, they're separate. And yes, Johnny Bean's right. It is backwards, and I have the actual forward recording that we can listen to real quick. All it is Eddie doing a dive bomb, and it goes on the back of the springs on the tremolo, Brad, like we talked about earlier, and he just plucks them. Super simple. So if you guys want to hear it real quick, I'll play it.
Cool. Thank you, brother.
There we go. So this is Tora Tora, played regular before they played it backwards.
And you heard it on the 5150 show.
And you know what? Why not play it the regular way? Because it'll never get flagged. Right? I mean, who's going to flag that? So real quick, we'll play the regular version just so you guys can all hear what it sounded like.
Cool.
Little fun fact, all the audio that I'm playing on this show, I'm actually running through my THXR 10X with my phone, just because it sounds badass. 5 out of 10.
Can't go wrong with the Yamaha.
Yeah, thing's badass. So yeah, 5 out of 10. Same with you guys. It's a stair step into Lost Control.
Loss of control, 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 loss of control.
You do it so well.
Loss of control.
Let's do a cover of it. You can sing it, Andrew.
Oh gosh. Okay. The drumming and the bass obviously really work. I just love it. I just think it's phenomenal. Yeah, I'm a secret bass player. I'm sure of it, guys. I've got to sell my guitars and just buy basses. I'm sure of it. It's going to happen.
No way.
No
way.
No, it's not going to happen. Look, I'm just
far away from you, Andrew. I don't live that far away from you.
I'm a fan of the bass, and again, I just love this album because of the bass. I just can't get enough of it, and we're going to get more and more into some more stellar bass playing. But yeah, loss of control. 7 out of 10 for me, guys. 7 out of 10 for me.
Lost control. Lost control. I can't do it, Andrew. My voice doesn't go that high. Chunky sludgy riff into like the up tempo riff gets you sort of like raising the horns. You know, it's got that sort of vibe to it. Drumming from Alex is really cool. A solo is the highlight for this song for me. The panning, very cool. Very like for its time, like sort of doing all that panning stuff. Very cool.
Yep.
Different from previous sort of mixes from Van Halen, like the first two records. Very different. I picked that up, and the outro again, very cock rock. I gave it 7 out of 10 as well. Kurt.
I don't know what's in the water. I gave it a 7 out of 10 as well. I'm not lying. It's right there. 7 out of 10.
You're the Rev. We're never going to contradict anything you say. Brad, on the other hand.
Well, I'm the Reverend. I'm the man of the cloth. I have the Lord behind my.
That's right. You're always going to tell the truth.
Sure. For me, 7 out of 10. This song started out sounding like a punk rock song, right? But they actually kind of rewrote it to where it didn't sound too punk rocky, what I've read. But really, it sounds like the late 80s heavy metal. Jay Hannon, I don't know if he's still in here, but to me, it sounds like, early Metallica, Pantera, like that heavy metal, the downstroking on your fast
the gallop. The gallop. Yeah. Good point. And, good point.
For sure. And real quick,
wow.
I think I have it on here. If you guys ever listen to any isolated tracks, listen to the isolated tracks on this. It sounds like heavy metal. So Eddie used Chris Holmes' Ibanez Destroyer on this song. He did it in one take. The solo features Ed on the MXR flanger. Bing! One of my favorite pedals. What's cool when you listen to that isolated track, it pans in the solo from right to middle to left and then back to right. So I challenge you guys to just plug in isolated guitar tracks, Lost Control. I think that this song should have been a instrumental in Van Halen fashion versus Dave's Mayday, Mayday, we got a 747 to fun, we got all that stuff that he did. Like, get out of here. They should have kept it an instrumental, and I probably would have ranked it at 8 or 9 out of 10 versus him jabbering his mouth and lost control. It just didn't do it for me. And you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pull it up here. Just so you guys can listen to it, and you can give me a second here. And they actually did a video for this song as well, which was kind of crazy. So here we go.
Lots of control, lots of control, lots of control, lots of control.
It's good. Anyway, it could have been an instrumental. So they did the video for this song. Eddie's wearing like scrubs and he's got the scarf around his neck. Dave's laying on a gurney and he's got some girl crawling all over him. Alex has got a bunch of x-rays taped to his body. But I think check out the isolated track. If you hear it, it's way better than the song. Should have been an instrumental, but I give it a 7 out of 10. So I don't know if you guys have heard the isolated track. It's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I can't recall listening to the isolated guitar tracks, but I will bro after the chat after this. I just want to do a quick shout out. We've got Lenny Lou in the chat. We've got Luca. G'day Luca and Teresa. Well, she's been here since the start. If I've missed anybody that's jumped in since we've been on air, forgive me. Look, that's certainly a Jim Dandy performance, isn't it? You know.
Jimmy Dandy.
Yeah. Look, okay, so take your whiskey home. I'm going to quote. I've got some quotes here that I've intermingled in with some of my own comments. So, Swampy Acoustic Blues starts off with that Swampy Acoustic Blues, which again has already been touched on with the album. This song goes back apparently to 1974, so it's been a song that's been around in the band for a long time. It's got that Tush Lagrange kind of thing to it as well, you know, that ZZ Top element. Nice rhythm tone from Eddie on this song in the electric side. The rhythm track is fantastic, and the tone on this song is probably, for me, one of the best guitar tones on the album. That's my note. I think it's a very, very good example of the Brown sound. And guys, I've given it a 9.5 out of 10.
Nice.
9.5.
9.5, bro.
We haven't had a half score for a while.
No, mate, 9.5.
I don't know. It's definitely got a cool bluesy vibe. Vocally, I think it's like one of the best ones on the album for David Lee Roth. That was what I put here. I love the guitar when it comes in. Bass and drums are chugging along really well. It's very cool, very solid. Some cool lead throughout the song, like really cool lead guitar throughout the song. Really cool harmonies, and the solo is classic Ed. I picked up on a nice little delay to my ears which is something slightly different that I'd never heard from Ed before, like the type of delay that was being used. That we can clarify that or not, Kurt. But yeah, it was something that I picked up. I don't know if I've heard it from Van Halen 1 into this one. I don't know whether I've heard that sort of usage of the delay the way it is in the solo. But anyway, I gave the song 9 out of 10. Didn't give it the half like you did. And never a skip. Kurt.
Well, Alan's saying it's just an Echoplex into a Marshall.
Correct.
So maybe the Rev can qualify that.
He's correct. It is the Echoplex into the Marshall, but on the Van Halen Inside magazine, it's saying that it's the homemade red Strat with steel strings, so it's not the Ibanez Destroyer on this song. But the
really?
effects,
A Strat?
Yeah, he's using his the Frankenstrat.
Oh, of course. Sorry,
Yeah.
when you said Strat, I'm thinking of single. yeah.
With steel strings. So this is the only song that he used 100% steel strings on. With the Echoplex. So he must have had a different setting on the Echoplex, because if you guys have seen any of his rigs live, he like duct tapes the knobs so they don't get changed. So he probably
Alan's saying
changed it up
inside's
for this.
wrong.
Yeah. No. Insog's right, but I'm just saying Brad was saying the Echoplex is a little bit different sound than his normal settings, so he probably tweaked it a little bit for this song.
Yeah, well, that's what
He is-
like the. Yeah, sorry, Kurt. I was just thinking
go
that
ahead.
the delay used in the solo is slightly different to what I've ever heard him sort of go for that setting. So, however he did it, yeah, just an observation on me, not necessarily if it's correct or not.
Sure. I'm with Brad. I know Andrew gave it a 9.5, but I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. This, you guys said this was an old song from the club days, which I have queued up here so we can listen to a tidbit of it if you guys want. If you don't,
Cool.
just tell me no.
You're the real.
Obviously, Ed didn't like this song and he didn't want to put it on the album, but all three of the other band members said, "Hey, let's put this on the album." So he folded and he put it on the album. So the acoustic was done by David Lee Roth. Did we talk about that?
No.
Yeah, David.
Thank you.
David played the acoustic on it, and Eddie played the electric. This to me is a total party song, and we will play a little tidbit of this from 1974. So this is going way back. This is going way back. Here we go. So very primitive, kind of hard to hear. It's a little muffled, but Andrew, if we want, I don't know, can we add some of these links later on down in the comments later?
Yeah. Just fire them through to me. Fire them through,
Yeah.
and when I've taken the dog for a walk and had dinner, I'll re-edit the video.
Dude.
No problem.
Do it tomorrow or whatever. We'll add them to the chat so you guys can kind of hear this
Cool.
43 years of research that I've put in.
And he doesn't look like a day over 21, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to have a look here at Alan's comment before we move
I saw
on?
that. You know what? Alan Garber has the real official tablature for Eruption, and I would probably believe Alan before I believe whoever put this article together for the Inside Magazine. Because I don't believe there's any vibrato in that song, so he's probably right. But
I'm not going to contradict Dr. Gerber either.
He's a doctor, and he's got it. He's got it going on.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got it. Yeah, he's like you, Kurt. He dreams EV8. Okay, guys. Sorry. Could this be magic? Oh my gosh. I tossed and turned over this song. Is it a resonator? Rev, answer me. Is it a resonator that he's playing?
A resonator guitar?
Yeah. Steel-bodied resonator? No, it's just a standard acoustic?
It's a Gibson
Sounds
acoustic.
like it. Oh, okay. All right. See, I knew you'd know this. To my ear, it sound so again, wonderful miking then, because it sounds to my ear like a resonator.
I'll find a picture of it while you do your thing.
No problem. And apparently, the only song ever to include a woman on a Van Halen track. I could be corrected. That's what I came across in my research. Roth's vocals on this song, not his best, guys. Even with the woman helping Nicolette or whatever in the chorus. I've given it a 5 out of 10, guys.
Yes, my notes are very similar to yours, Andrew. Yeah, I put nice slide guitar.
Hey, Caleb.
Catchy melody, vocal parts, including harmonies are cool, bluesy vibes. I gave it a 6 out of 10 after about 3 listens and re-rankings. I was going to give it 4. It was my initial first ranking. So
that would have been your lowest.
It would have been, and exactly. But I put it in context for the record, which is what we do. Yeah. And based on my other rankings. So 6 out of 10, but it's sometimes a skip for me. Yeah. Kurt.
Oh, cheers, Johnny.
All right. Well, Ed had a totally different idea for this song. Ted remembers, or he recommends Eddie using a slide guitar. Believe it or not, the band was actually under the influence of a lot of alcohol when they were tracking this song. And so Ted asked Eddie to try the slide guitar, and Eddie says, sure. He laid the slide guitar down in one take, and he used a Rickenbacker, right? Rickenbacker. No, excuse me. No, it was a different song. Excuse me. He did the slide guitar in one take. And the thing is normally when people play slide, they tune it to a certain tune when they're playing slide. And Ed had no idea how to
open E or open D or open A. Yep.
Yeah. Well, he kept it to standard tuning, and he just winged it and did
really
whatever sounded great for him. Yeah.
On a Rickenbacker.
No. I had my songs mixed up, but he did the slide guitar with open or regular tuning, off the whim. Nicolette Larson was the female that helped on the background vocals. Of course, Eddie helped her on her 78 album, which I'm going to play a quick guitar solo that he did on one of her songs. But let's see. Eddie didn't know how to tune the guitar to slide, so he just winged it with whatever he had set up, and it sounded great. And it was actually raining the day that they tracked this song, so they actually opened the door to the main room where all the band was playing when they were doing the vocals, so you can hear rain in the background on this record. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not. But so Nicolette Larson came in to repay Ed's favor on him playing guitar on "Can't Get Away" on her, or "Can't Get Away from You" on her 78 album, and I'm going to play a quick snippet of it. But
cool.
For me, I give it 7 out of 10. I think it's got kind of a cool vibe, and Eddie was quoted to say that when they recorded this song, they wanted to sound like a bunch of drunk sailors coming into town looking for some women. So take it for what it's worth. So here's Nicolette Larson's album from 78 with Eddie on guitar. That's enough before we get flagged, as Johnny would say. And I'm sorry, Andrew. The Rickenbacker was in a simple rhyme, which we'll talk about next.
Okay, cool. Did you give it a rating?
7 out of 10.
7 out of 10. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So, Nicolette Larson. I remember her singing a Neil Young song, "Lot of Love." Yeah,
Great.
yeah, and she was. All the girls wanted to be Nicolette Larson for a little while. Now they want to be Carby B or whatever, you know. Yeah. Anyway, okay. In a simple rhyme. Look, the acoustic intro, to me, when I first heard it, I thought, my gosh, this sounds like some progressive kind of rock, kind of opera kind of thing happening, and it ends too quickly. I just think that acoustic intro's just fantastic. I'm a blues man and I love the previous other acoustic intros that they've had, but this one was certainly pointing in another direction. Good lyrics, good vocals, from Roth. The bass in the song is magnificent, and I've underlined it. You got that Led Zeppelin tribute at about the 2-minute 30 mark. I think, where they're trying to be, and that's okay. That's fine. The solo was amazing with the bass. The bass and the solo guitar on this song from Van Halen's probably one of the best examples of a bass playing with the solo guitar. Just go and check that out solely for that. I think it's magnificent. It's fantastic. It's a 1974 song, so obviously Michael and Eddie had been playing this together. I'm sure the Rev and Brad have got other information, other bits of information to give. Are we going to talk about the hidden track or not? Okay, all right. So, guys, this is 20 out of 10 for me. This song is I love it. I think this song is fantastic. It's it's the best song on the album for me. It's never a skip. Love it. And it's interesting because you end this album with this song and you think, my gosh, where's the next album going to go? And we have Fair Warning, which doesn't go anywhere near in this direction on this song. So it's a gem. It's a diamond. Love it. Brad.
All right. Well, for me, love the intro. Drums are really slamming along. The breakdowns are cool. Nice harmonies. Maybe it's in the structures or whatever, I don't know, but I'm hearing a big Who influence in this song.
Oh.
I don't know if that's resonates with a lot of people or not.
That's yeah. You're right.
I'm hearing a lot of the Who in this song. I don't know whether they were listening to a lot of the Who back in '74 or in the tail end of the '70s or whatever. I don't know, but
Hey,
solo really cool. There's some really different ideas from Ed in this one as well, I've noticed in this song. Plus a little bonus at the end. It's the highlight for me, to be honest with you, because from my understanding, they were going to evolve that into something in the next record, but Kurt may be able to sort of lead us down the golden path that he leads us down in relation to moving forward into Fair Warning. But I gave the song a 9 out of 10.
Cool. Well, Brad, I know you haven't read Ted Templeton's book yet, but he talks about, in a simple rhyme, is Van Halen's Who moment. He actually quotes it right in the book. So you nailed it right on the head.
Of course, and I put Led Zeppelin. You're absolutely right.
And we'll share this picture real quick. of the Rickenbacker 12-string electric that Eddie used on the intro to this song. If technology will work with me here. Give me a second. I know Alan Garber and Caleb Rappaport were going back and forth on whether or not they were using a... It's not working for me. Anyway, I had a picture of a 12-string Rickenbacker. But anyway, we'll show that for another day. But yes, they did use a 12-string Rickenbacker on A Simple Rhyme. Eddie was talking about how when they got the guitar, I don't know if Ted or Don Landy reached out to someone within Sunset Sound to use it, but he said the thing was a piece of shit. It had rusty strings on it, and Eddie had a hard time even tuning it. But they did the whole intro in one take, which is totally Ed fashion at the beginning of this song. For me, this song is a 10 out of 10, boys. And since Brad bought a new guitar this week and he got an Ernie Ball Access, I'm going to give it a 10.5 anyway, just in my respects to Brad, just because this song, Eddie was going to start out with an acoustic on this song, but he felt like it was going to sound too Led Zeppelin, which Andrew, you put in there that it had a Led Zeppelin vibe. Eddie didn't want the Led Zeppelin vibe, so they brought in the 12-string acoustic to kind of get away from that acoustic vibe, because as you guys know, prior to this album, other than Spanish Fly, they really hadn't used an acoustic on anything. This song was actually a leftover from the original Warner Brothers demo, which I'm going to play you guys a quick 5-second snippet of that. But it was a song from the club days. Actually, no, not the club days, but the backyard days. So prior to the club days, so early 70s, they played this song. When I saw Van Halen in 2012 with Wolfgang and Dave Ross, this song immediately jumped up the priority poll for me as a David Lee Roth song, because live, it blew me away. And I really didn't pay much attention to it on the Women and Children First album until I saw them live in 2012. And I would say it's probably one of my top 5 David Lee Roth songs. So here we go. Let's play Van Halen from 1977, Warner Brothers demo on In a Simple Rhyme. A little bit of different arrangement there. Of course, some time's passed, but yeah, pretty cool. We'll put the links to all these little tidbits that we played tonight, for sure.
Okay, guys, I don't know how this is going to work, but this is something that Johnny's sent to me on Facebook Messenger, so I'll just see if this comes through, guys. Okay, just hold on for a second. Is that cool? Hold on.
Yeah. We got Nerd Halen in the house. We can do whatever we want.
Did you guys hear that? Is that okay or not?
Kind of faint.
Oh, kind of faint. Shit. Hold on. I'll try again. So, that's not going to work. I don't think that's as loud as it's going to go. Okay. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you guys. That's probably the best bet. I'll send it to you. What's happened to the Rev? Barely. Sorry.
What are we listening to?
Something that Johnny sent. It sounded like. What did you send me, Johnny? We've got so much stuff going on here in the chat.
Sean Zimmerman, what's up, man? Thanks for joining. And Luca, thanks for joining. Jeff Davidson, appreciate you guys. Thomas Santiago, just thought I'd give a quick shout out.
Turn
But
it
yeah,
up.
what was that? It was a little faint.
Okay, I'll try one more time. Hold on. It might be this
The
mic
goldfish over here could hear it in the water, barely.
Oh my god. Hold on. Okay, hold on, guys.
So it's the Cradle
Yeah,
of
Johnny
Rock
said
without the fade at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never heard that
that's
before.
cool. Yeah, I haven't either.
Thanks,
Cheers,
John.
Johnny. Thank you.
Johnny, where'd you find that at?
Yeah.
He's got connections.
Yeah. He's close to the Van Halen insider. I'll send it to you.
He's on the dark side.
Hey, Andrew, before we get to growth, you mind if I go through a couple pages on this? If you want to present me.
Andrew. Have we lost Andrew?
And now it's time for Guru's Collectibles.
Right.
All right, we got the tour book for OU, or it's been a long night, for Women and Children First. So I was just going to go through a couple pages. I don't know if any of you guys have ever purchased these or looked at them, but these are the ones that you buy when you go to the concert. So just a couple pictures here we'll thumb through real quick so you guys can see. Of course, there's the infamous Van Halen and the Orange Bowl, right? Little David Lee Roth. Bunch of little photos paying tribute to Dave. This one's kind of cool. It's a bunch of, I guess we'd call them slides back in the day of situations with the band, either backstage or during their tours. It's really hard to see in this photo, but if you look real close, it's just a bunch of kind of undeveloped photos before in the negative form, I guess you'd call it, to those people that aren't pre-digital world.
Correct.
All right, and then here's a tribute to Edward himself. Of course, some of these photos were taken from the Van Halen 2 tour. This one's a cool one. Band. Just a bunch of cool photos. Tribute to Michael Anthony.
Cheers, Thomas. Thank you.
Here's some more negatives and some rolled up $100 bills, some pizza, cigarette ashtray, corkscrews, keys, probably some hotel keys, maybe some used condoms, who knows what, sunglasses, photos of women. just typical, day in the life of Van Halen. Alex with that infamous grin, smile. Dude's always having a good time. And then last page, band, probably during their last encore, and then a few photos. So I like to try to collect these. I have 3 or 4 from some of the tours, but just wanted to share this with you guys since we were going over this album. Cool tour book.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for that. We're always about sharing information like that, and it's what we're about. Growth. I don't know anything about Growth. Don't know anything about it other than I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I don't know anything, so I'm looking forward to listening to what you guys have to say about it, and anyone in the chat. I'm sure there are some opinions and some facts.
Brad, what do you know, buddy?
Yeah, well, I just lost where I was up to, actually. I had some information on it, but it was very vague. Where is it? Sorry, guys, you caught me off guard. To me,
Thanks, Brian.
I was under the impression, and I can't find where I actually found it now. I was under the impression that it was a segue into hopefully what would be to come for the next record.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's how I understood what I read. So I'm trying to find what I read, but now I've lost it now. I'm sorry, guys.
Brad,
yeah.
That's about it, really. At 419, after In a Simple Rhyme, it was Van Halen's like teaser into the next album, which they've done in 2 or 3 other albums. And I don't know what happened, but they either forgot about it or decided to scrap it. But it was supposed to be either the beginning of another song in Fair Warning or the end of a song in Fair Warning that was to come as a teaser, but it never came through fruition. And it's kind of a cult following. Like, this is like, I don't know, how long's the song?
It's not very long.
Like 27 seconds or something?
Yeah,
like, there's a lot of Van Halen fans that like think this thing's like a masterpiece. So I figured we should highlight this on the end of this album, even though it really didn't go through fruition. But it was supposed to be the segue into the next album, and
okay.
They played a tidbit of it on the U.S. festival concert. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. It's getting a little late in my brain, but they did play some of it in that show. So what do we got in the chat? Yeah, Tangerine
Johnny's
Bowl.
saying,
Yellow, I was wrong. What did I say? The Orange Bowl, Texas Jam. Yeah. Anyone in the chat knows anything about growth? Chime in, because it's an open book here. But that's what I know about
Johnny, I'm trying to find a comment here that Johnny said apparently they played it in '86 or something like that.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
Here it is here. Gosh. Growth was played live in '86 as a jam with Sammy.
Yeah, so they kind of sprinkled it in a few different times. Maybe one of these days we can get that answer out of either Alex or Michael Anthony or Don Landy, or I'll message Greg Runoff and see if maybe he can give us any tidbits. But I would sure like to know more about growth for sure.
Well, look at all these people in the chat. A lot of people know about it. Growth was played as an extended live in Worcester in '86. So yeah. Interesting how it was supposed to be an out a coda, and leading up to the introduction of the new tune or the new number on the next album. It's something that Dream Theater always do with their songs, with their albums. It ends and then it's picked up with the next album. So yeah, interesting.
Makes you wonder, doesn't it, that like whether there's stuff like this in the vault, whether there was a extended version of that somewhere. Sorry?
A motive behind it?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, as you know, they wrote songs as they went, as well as leaning on their past and songs they'd written. So you never know. They could have had something ready to go for Fair Warning, but then when Fair Warning sessions came around, they might have just dropped it because they had other stuff they thought was more relevant to that moment. So I'll just throw that into the chat and see what everyone thinks about that, because I'd love to know. I'd love to get my hands on all the stuff that's in the vault and have a listen.
Wouldn't we all?
I reckon that, because as an artist, like they, as a band, I'm sure as they're writing new material, they'd go, let's not worry about that now because we've got this new stuff we like more. So, there might be stuff still sitting around in the Warner's vaults just of all this stuff that's us crazy fanatical Van Halen fans would love to get our ears around.
Yeah.
Yeah, good album. And I'm super excited for the next album to come, Van Halen 2, which, if anyone has this Japanese book, it's 310 pages of the 78 and 79 tour. So I'll probably be pulling a lot out of the next couple shows out of this. But with that being said, we're probably going to push the 5150 show out a week due to Easter Sunday. Andrew, if this is a good time to talk about that.
Yeah, so if you guys subscribe to the channel, we'll probably do a midweek show with we'll try and fit something in around the different time zones and try and get Brad obviously to do something with us talking about Axis guitars, because we're scheduled, we do this show fortnightly, so we're scheduled in 2 weeks time, but it's Easter Saturday here, so, and I'm a little bit busy, but we'll reschedule for the week after. Is that correct, guys? Is that what we agreed?
Yeah.
The week after? Okay, so if you guys haven't already subscribed to that Instagram channel at Bradcookmusic, and this one here at Kurt5150 on Instagram.
Show Jay Hannon your Ernie ball. Put it up to the camera. I don't know if he's seen it or not.
Sorry,
don't look at my face.
Wrong person.
There you go. How's that thing staying tuned?
Well, I haven't changed the strings. It seems to be fine. There's just a slight variation in tuning when you do the drop, when you pull it out to the drop D. It's not quite perfectly in drop D pitch. So I'm hoping that someone might be able to help me with some information they can forward through in a link or something, a YouTube video or something, see if there's an adjustment you can do to that, the D tune.
Got to get your alum key, and you've got to fiddle with the alum key on the side there. Did you get a little thin alum key?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's all about fiddling with that to get it.
Well, I like to
you'll
fiddle.
Work it. Yeah, you'll work it out. Get some growth and have a fiddle.
So anyway, instead of going 2 weeks from now, we're going to go 3 weeks from now. But Andrew and I, and hopefully Brad, will do a midweek show halfway between just to keep everyone's whistle wet. We'll pick a topic, but in 3 weeks from now, we'll do Van Halen 3 or Van Halen 2. Woo! It's been a long night for me. We'll do Van Halen 2, but yeah, super excited for that. if Brad can join, maybe, and hopefully I'll get my Axis back from my luthier. I'm having new frets put on it.
Awesome.
I hope it's back by then, so we can do kind of an Axis EVH themed show
Special.
for an hour and a half or so.
And we
Yeah.
can do a thumbnail where I've got a thread. That would be pretty cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah. So if you subscribe to Kurt and Brad on Instagram, you'll keep in touch with channel updates. We really appreciate it. It's always cool.
I'll post some updates once in a while.
Yeah. And also in the Johnny Bean Discord too. Kurt is active over there. So if you guys get some of our channel activity information over there, that'll keep everyone up to date. But look, it's been a pleasure, guys. We've been on air for 2.5 hours, which is always a good sign that we've had some interesting discussions and some good rankings. I think it's a fair ranking that we've gone through. Let us know, guys, later on in the comments in the chat later if you think that if you think that the Rev and Brad and I have been fair or unfair on our rankings. It's been a difficult album for me to rank. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I would say it's a fun album. There's lots of highlights, lots of new dredged water on this album. I think out of the Dave era, there are a few better albums than this, but I love Van Halen, and I can't diss any of their albums. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff to talk about on this album, so I enjoy that part of it for sure.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have to say, it's been if I was to put all the Roth era albums together, I'm not sure this is up in the top 3. Definitely not in the top 3 for me, this record.
No, it's not in my top 3 of Roth era albums either. And I look forward to when we finish the cycle on the rankings of where we see Van Halen albums in our top 3, Sammy era albums, and our top 3 Roth era albums. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be quite cool.
And I know Johnny
really
Bean,
appreciate it.
He loves this album, which respect to him, because that's everyone has a different ear and a different mindset. So keep waving that flag, Johnny. If you love this album, keep waving. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we do a quick thumbnail, Andrew?
Yeah, hold on. I'll get my iPad. Hold on, guys.
That's the fun thing, guys, about this. What we're doing is this is just our opinion, and we love you guys giving us your opinion. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel to win for your chance to win a T-shirt from the Van Halen store. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll be going live to draw that in a few weeks' time. So Andrew will update us all, and we'll keep you updated on our socials with that as well.
And then Jay has some little technical tips for you on the D-Tuna, so make sure you take a look at that before we end the show. I'm going to do both of these. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do all 3.
Jay, I'll check out your comments in the comment section, Jay. And, if I've got any questions, I'll be asking you. Don't worry.
Thank you very much, guys.
Cards here. You don't know what I'm playing, a full house or straight.
Thank you, guys and girls, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure hanging out with the Rev and Brad. We hope that our family, the 5150s, have entertained you and given you something to think about. We always appreciate the Rev's deep diving, and especially some of that obscure and relevant information that Van Halen fans want. we can never get enough Van Halen on the internet. So let's take over the internet. Let's take over YouTube with Van Halen, because Eddie Van Halen is our Jimi Hendrix. He's our generation's guitar hero, and we'll always be in debt to him and his band. Thank you, Eddie Van Halen. Hey, Deja Voodoo. Do you want to say goodbye to everyone, Kurt? I think it's your job to say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys. Sean Zimmerman, Lenny Lou, Lucas Farah, Nerd Halen, Deja Voodoo, 7/8, Johnny Bean, John BL. Give me a second here. Fruitcake Tony, Jeff Davidson, Lenny Lou. I think I said Lenny Lou already. Robot Master Switch, Sean Zimmerman. That's everyone. So thank you very much. Share the channel, subscribe, and we'll see you in Shakes of a Lamb's Tail.
Awesome. God bless. Be safe. Thank you very much.
Good.